variants thereof. NRG can be opening up here at the Winston Goats, which again, you got to look towards stand one and how much percentage he gets on every rotation here, because that's really what judges how effective this Winston Goat setup is.
It is. It's definitely going to be the early cleave damage for stand one. Catching Skyfoxes on the rotation. Skyfoxes going to be on that 3-3, coming in the Rhine. So it's on stand one to get a lot of value and not get picked.
Meanwhile, he's going in, gets about 32%. That's about good for that early setup, but the problem is Skyfoxes also pretty easily rotate around. He gets the ult percentage, but the rest of the pressure from NRG kind of lacking.
It is, but if he can get up to like 70% on this next rotation and then just delay the fight long enough on point, the Primal will be up to time. Well,
the issue is Skyfoxes, they're going straight in. They're not giving NRG the chance to continually delay and poke at them. NRG taking more, or getting thrown back as Skyfoxes take a little bit more of the initiative here. Clowman, though, perhaps a little bit far forward, getting isolated, but no, gets healed, and then some in the middle of it. He's under heavy fire, but getting brought back up all the same. Skyfox applying a lot of pressure. NRG, though, still in a really good spot health-wise. Stand one builds up the problem in the middle of the fight. Ezire down, but Stand one, he's hit his victory condition, moving forward. Both supports down for Skyfoxes, and this should be NRG holding.
Stand one doing so much right now. Horthic decides to pop the rally.
Yeah, that made no sense.
Even regardless of the fact that he was low, there was three people down for Skyfoxes. I didn't see any reason for that rally to come out at all.
There's a Winston in my face, panic Q.
Yeah, that was definitely a panic Q right there. Skyfoxes, however, all able to pick up that first tick, but in return they've lost the rally. Time bank down for a lot, and NRG building up to a lot of the crucial ults.
Look, when you're in defense, ticks are currency in the end. You are more than willing to exchange that 33% in order to have a team fight win the buy more time up the clock. NRG has to be happy with how this has gone down so far.
Definitely, especially with the combo up. Skyfoxes will have double support ult here, so they can survive that combo, but they're going to have to time it very well.
Moving back over, stand one, getting a lot of ult charge here. Horthic down again. Man advantage NRG, stand one, gonna dive over. And this is where you want to be if you're NRG. Man advantage, Clowman isolated, down he goes. Charge being built up here by stand one, farm it up.
And Horthic getting isolated there was just like, that was the problem. Horthic gets caught, stand one decides to commit onto the high ground. Byram is there shooting orbs at Horthic at the same time. He couldn't make the cross. And now it's a really kind of unfortunate position for Skyfoxes, considering so much time built off the clock already, and NRG has 6 ults. Skyfox as well. It's going to be an ult fight coming up very soon. It's going to be the 6 ult v6 ult pretty soon.
But for NRG, you've fought your way to where you can win this ult fight. It's not something where Skyfoxes just ground you down and this is basically a formality. They could win this fight and potentially get a first point hold.
They definitely can. It's all going to be about the bunny hopping here of the support ults, how the grabs are used. Those are the 2 win conditions. Those are the 2 most important factors.
Stand one getting good poke here early. He shouldn't be shy in using the Primal early here for disruption. He's under fire. He needs a Primal in the nick of time. Ends up backing up. Doesn't want a Primal here just yet. Playing it very much on the edge. Skyfoxes use the barrier. NRG getting poked down. A barrier of their own coming out a little bit later. Graviton in. The Skyfoxes fall through. They're looking for it. Not going to get it. NRG. Transcendence out. Smex bomb connects to the back. 2 down. NRG in a really good spot here, and stand one, more importantly, he actually saved the Primal. He thought he would have used it early, gambled that it wasn't be needed, and it ends up paying off. Final 30 seconds in a Primal
reserve. And that's
reserve.
really the early beat. The early beat from Mac was so crucial there for NRG. They had the better combo because there is no barriers up. Mac decides to pop it so early to have the chase, but they can't find anything, and so then it was just a much better exchange for NRG. It's all about having that 1 extra support ult up in the fight. Pook's able to keep them alive.
They could potentially stop Skyfoxes from even touching the point again here, depending on how Stam 1 uses Primal. So he hasn't used Primal yet. They're waiting. 5 seconds left. Stam 1 under pressure. Primal about to be up. Skyfox is rotating over the point. They do get the touch.
He has to get Lasher though. He does.
And immediately Stam 1 just pressure on the back. This is so good from NRG. Just bashing the Skyfoxes left, right, center, done. NRG, they complete the first point hold here. If they're going to do the reverse sweep, this is the style in which you want to do it.
This is definitely the style they need to do it. Some unfortunate happenings there for Horthic for Skyfoxes in those early rotations. Then that early beat and that huge ult fight that happened the fight before from Mac. And just those small advantages, those very small things are just so important. You see where you need those double support ults up when the combos are out. And if you're using beat early, you must be confident that you will be able to find that pick to get that pressure you need. Otherwise, you will probably lose that ult exchange.
The interesting thing for me is I feel like the verticality of this first point, even though it's not as much as other points, seemingly messed with the Skyfoxes and how they were engaging, where NRG was pretty split up. They were using multiple different avenues on the high ground, and Skyfoxes didn't really have a solid engage onto anyone in particular. Their best fight was probably the very first, where Stan didn't generate quite as much alter pressure on their second rotation through the top. But even then, Skyfoxes couldn't chase anything down effectively. Cloman ends up going too far, getting himself in a really rough spot. And then the next engagement from Skyfoxes even less effective. So this has been very, very good for NRG here. But part of it is I think Skyfoxes didn't look quite the same.
I don't think they really knew how to play against the Winston. They weren't feeling extremely confident. Because a huge part of it on the first when you get to Winston is the rotations before you get to the point. And they wanted to remove high ground because they don't have a great time at doing so, since only FaZe is the real contester for high ground there. And they just didn't have great rotations there. Really, at the end of the day, it all comes down to those offensive rotations.
Now, do note, it is possible for Skyfoxes to still win the map here. 61.2% was gained. It was not a completely fruitless attack. So NRG, they can't take this lightly. They still need to successfully get point A, which is very likely. But, you know, it wouldn't be crazy to see one hold answered with another.
And you see NRG going to take this early rotation to the right flank, going to take control of the Mega because you see Skyfoxes holding on the high ground. And NRG doesn't have to take that fight. They don't necessarily have to control high ground because they know Cloman has to drop. I think holding the Mega is actually a better position, especially if you can put Byram up on the high ground.
That's exactly what they're doing. They drop down. They force Cloman to drop and turn. Cloman under heavy pressure. Going to get armor pack, though, under response. And meanwhile, FaZe able to loop around, take down Pooks. NRG down a Lucio here. And this is looking quite... Oh, NRG, hang on, it's back and forth between both teams. Skyfoxes fighting it, but for NRG on the attack, their respawns are going to be coming in. If they can just get a little bit more, I don't think they did enough.
I think they're in an okay spot, though, because also for NRG, something to note here is that the pressure is on Skyfoxes to use ults to hold. NRG can afford to pop maybe like a rally and then just get 1 to 2 ults out of Skyfoxes, then take a couple fights and come back in, or they can just continue to hold on to 6, force Skyfoxes to use ults. Right now, all they have to do is get minuscule advantages out of Skyfoxes for NRG because they know their win condition.
NRG again, going to take the same rotation. So what we saw just a fight ago, expect here to see it again. NRG might change up ever so slightly here. They're going to decide to go through big health pack room, drop on down. Skyfoxes going to greet them. Clone Man answering the door. Stam 1 swinging the hammer immediately in. Skyfox trying to take the fight pretty aggressively here. Byram with a really early transcendence under the pressure from Cloman. Stam 1 dropping the shatter. Cloman on the ground, but the fall through not going to be there. Lastro, transcendence keeping Cloman plenty healthy in return. And NRG now.
That was
to rotate the other way.
Terrible exchange for NRG, considering that they used 2 support ults. And sure, they got trans out of Lastro, but they didn't get much else. And now it's all going to be based on their combo play. But Skyfoxes have their own.
Graviton going to be invested here from Skyfoxes. They use the takedown stand 1, and that's easy. Fight over.
Now they have to feel confident. They can. I think they're really going to be looking to take this next fight. Like there's no the problem because they invested so many support ults in that previous fight is that they don't have that window to bunny hop support ults, but they do have combo. As we have the pause come out.
So pause is coming in here, and this is a bit grim right now for NRG, where their defense looked really quite good, but now their offense is sputtering. They're down to a minute 30. If they don't get progress here, that is the series, and it would complete what is honestly a bit of an epic collapse right now for NRG, where at the very minimum, who knows how the series would go? I mean, the reverse sweep, not super likely, but Volskaya was likely for NRG here, and still could be, but they've now put themselves in a very awkward and tough position.
I think they would have been in a fine spot if they had only used the rally there to trade for trance, but they use the rally, their own trance, and the shatter. And when you're in these eco fights here, when you know your win condition on assault, all you have to do is just build up ults and just wait for the best possible ult to add there. You really don't want to be popping more than 1 ult at a time to force, as the pause is going to be ending here. Coming back in. And it's really just on NRG now. I mean, they have they don't have combo. Smex DC'd. Now they don't even have combo. Ooh, it's a really rough position for NRG.
And that is the disconnect demon offering a little bit of extra insult to injury here. Smex, you're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way. No bomb, just good old-fashioned fusion cannons, I suppose. But, man, that is such a bad beat for NRG.
And the longer the fight runs, the worse it is for NRG as well. The Skyfoxes will keep building their own ults. They need to take this fight very fast.
Well, they're looking for grab beat in. Oh, absolute disaster. Skyfox is going to drop the beat, move on in. NRG having to transcend in response. This is not a good timeline for NRG right now. Skyfoxes, though, they are getting pushed back ever so slightly. Lastro under pressure, and he just decides to go for it. Transcendence out. They rush down stand one right after.
Kevster can get grab post-fight, though. Kevster can get grab and win the fight. Smex pulls the combo.
Yeah, they could get combo mid-fight. They're going to have to. Smex is down. Oh, and down.
I mean, if they get delay classes, I think stand one needs to go Hammond. If stand one goes Hammond, they might be able to touch. It's going to be really tough. Are they going to stay on this? Are they gonna? No.
Oh no!
Gonna go Hammond.
Pooks, the sacrifice immediately destroyed, and now you're Azaria. You're under pressure. You know you have to grab. Oh, okay.
On point.
Self-destruct is up. The Graviton not going to be eaten immediately as a result. Graviton actually
out,
gonna connect. Graviton gets two after result. Smex bomb on the top.
Gets Horthic as well.
NRG not done yet. Coming back in. Skyfoxes making crucial mistakes. They had this one in the bag. NRG. They're getting back into it, and this is actually gonna be NRG taking Volskaya. Skyfoxes, what have you done?
Oh no!
What did you do?
No! That's tragic. I mean, great recontest there for NRG. Pooks. I mean, Pooks didn't really get the recontest, but it was stand one that gets there in time, and they just overestimated the value that they were going to get from that potential grab. Kester catches two, gets two with the solo grab on the high ground, and that opens up the fight for the rest of NRG to get in. All you have to do if you're NRG in that situation is just not get picked.
Yeah.
And that's all you have to do, and just not give Kevster. They should have known Kevster had grab.
Yeah, and I mean, the other thing, too, is that at that point, I mean, generally the game sense for him is absolutely on point. For Smex, you don't have to be looking for a bomb or anything. Look, you have to figure if he does have grab, all you need to do is just be looking for it. He doesn't have time to look for the perfect grab. You should be ready to gobble that up. Yep. But I also think there's testament to Kevster here, right, where I don't think it was super obvious that Kevster was going to have back-to-back grabs. I think
probably not.
I think you have to actually give Kevster quite a bit of praise for, yes, he throws his grab away in the last fight, but he builds grab up really quickly. I guarantee you, if you're the talk to Smex after that, I'd be like, I didn't know he had grab.
Also another early beat as well. Yeah. Very early. You see after phase 8 grab from Kevster, Mac beated to try to contest, but there really wasn't a reason to beat. Considering that, you know, you can be aggressive and then beat if you need to, but they chose to just drop the beat immediately. So they didn't have beat for the post-fight. They didn't have beat for that following fight because they chose to invest it in the fight previously. I mean, clearly they were using it as a way to just chase down NRG after the grab was eaten, but when you're in those final moments there and it looks like you're going to be able to counter hold, really keeping track of your ults are so important and using them in the most effective manner possible.
And I mean, that's also where, to a degree, pressure starts rearing its head, right? Where you go, okay, well, final fight, need to do something, press buttons frantically, and sometimes, well, most of the time, it's not a great idea. Yeah. Discipline, usually winning the day. But what is important to note here, NRG, they've kept their hopes alive. It took a little bit of back and forth that went in their favor, but you know what? That means that we are now going to be heading to Escort for our 4th map as NRG continues their assault to try to bring the series back away from the Skyfoxes. And I don't know, I said Escort, right? Or did
you did say Escort?
Okay, I didn't say a specific map. It's Gibraltar.
Yeah, it is Gibraltar.
I was like, did I just say the wrong? No, I didn't.
It's going to be our final map of the series. After an incredibly heroic recontest, Kevster getting that grab so fast for Volskaya. So now they have to be feeling a little bit of momentum. Skyfox is probably upset about that one. Probably a little upset about that one, but they have to, you know, just mental fortitude up here and just finish it out for themselves. NRG looking tied up.
Yeah, I mean, I think the key here is just don't let your mental be boomed. Let your mental be strong. You remember that no matter what, you could lose this map, and if you could just become the team that you were earlier on Control, you still win. You still got the Fusion University trump card, as Elk would put it.
Yeah, they're in a pretty okay position. Even if they lose the map, they still have one more, especially on a map type that they were feeling very confident on. But now it's NRG, their time to even it up. And they obviously have to be feeling some momentum after that miracle first cap for them.
Yeah, absolutely. Realistically speaking, they're going to go back and they'll be like, wow, we really did not deserve to take that back. But you know what? We'll take what you can get. And Kevster, you know, good job.
Great stuff there. And that a lot of that is just because Kevster had a little bit more space there at the end as well. And I think when Kevster gets that space and is warmed up and is feeling good, he's an extremely competent Zarya player. But it's more of just an issue of if you don't give him that space, then he's just not as impactful as he can be.
No, not quite. But hopping back in, it is Gibraltar. That was the World Tour there on Gibraltar. But now we're heading over. It's going to be Skyfoxes here on the attack first. NRG on the defense. And Gibraltar, again, I think the beauty of this map is that you never quite know what you're going to see. Are you going to see a Gibraltar where it's full hold v full hold? That can be a thing. Are you going to see a Gibraltar where both teams get speed run? Also a thing. One of the most variable maps in the entire game, really.
And you see Kevster going to be on the Widow here. So there's not going to be the 3-3. They will be having also the double soul heal for NRG. Pook's on the Ana. So they're going to try to abuse the sightlines for first very heavily. Kevster, a very proficient hit scan player, so he's going to be looking for these pickoffs. And they're just going to be cycling contesting cart continuously with Smex and Stand 1, hoping to get value for Kevster.
Now the issue here for NRG, they absolutely need to get early value off the Widow here, where it makes Kevster the focal point, right? If you're running Widow composition and you don't get picks, you're going to lose the point. But he is having some opportunity here. Pressure on Brigida's shield to the right. Meanwhile, the rest of NRG contesting cart on the left.
And right now, the Skyfoxes are probably struggling to figure out how they want to contest this. They have Coleman, they have that shield presence on point, and right now their easiest way is going to be, if they can't catch Stand 1 or Smex, they're going to have to rotate and force these rotations for NRG off the high ground. Force Kevster to get off high ground, force Pooks, and then which you see they've done now. And
the thing about the Widow is that even when a Widow isn't getting picks, it's really heavy sightline pressure. It's something that you always have to be aware of. You have to be careful. You don't want to be the guy that gets picked by the Widow and you go, well, I guess we're down a player. So Kevster has been playing the sightlines pretty well, but all the while, Skyfox is moving the point. NRG going to have to commit, and actually, Skyfox is deciding they want to evict from the high ground. They're going to go for a full rotation while pushing the point. By the way, payload, super important. NRG need to get back on over to defend this a meter away, and the rotation and split pressure from the Skyfoxes quite good here. Should be able to do the job.
Izar, though, he's nano. The anti comes out for Pooks as well. Mac going to go down.
Oh, Kevster! He's
Kevster's got it too.
Kevster gets 2! Respawn's coming back in. Skyfox, just when you think the rotation has done enough, a Nano Brigida and a Widowmaker, the answer to all of NRG's problems.
And that was, honestly, Skyfox's, I'm giving them a lot of credit. The rotation was great. They just kept rotating until they were able to catch NRG, because remember, NRG is worse at rotating. They don't have a Lucio. So just rotating constantly actually puts them in a much worse position. But that was a hero play from Pooks, able to get the nano onto Izar along with that anti, and Kevster as well getting 2 pickoffs.
No, that was absolute heroics from the very end. It got them out of a situation Skyfoxes should have been able to take. Look at this pressure on the Clone Man. Shield under heavy assault. It's going to be forcing out a super early Transcendence for the Skyfoxes. NRG very well could win this fight. Stand 1 going to be on the other side. Izar down, so now they're going to have to invest quite a bit. Transcendence out here from NRG. Stand 1, Prime 1 reserve. Smex holding on to self-destruct under heavy pressure. Is he going to let it fly here? No, instead going to be falling. Skyfoxes applying the pressure. That now should be point A.
That should. It's just Stand 1 here. No more ults readily available for NRG, no more spawns. So that's going to be the point cap. For Skyfoxes, they're going to be making the swap off Kevster back onto the Zarya here. Pooks onto Lucio. Still a pretty decent first one.
Not too bad for the Skyfoxes, I would say. But also for NRG, they bought pretty reasonable amounts of time. But the fate of this map in general going to be decided here on point B. Whoever gets this first point B fight, certainly Skyfox is trying to posture to make it their own.
And there isn't much in the bank for NRG. They have the bomb for Smex, but Skyfox is overall very far ahead in the ult ad, because remember, they had to make those turbo swaps.
Skyfox is moving in phase here, just sitting over the top, free diva damage. Meanwhile, wrapping around the other side, Skyfox's Clone Man there with Buds. Decent Zarya damage on the flip side. Stand 1 already down. And they're pushing the payload all the while, so NRG at some point needs to move this fight to the payload, stop it where it stands.
Lashro gonna fall off that high ground. All Skyfox is still pressuring the point. NRG waiting for their spawners to come back. coming up to those ults very soon, but Skyfox is coming up to almost 6 of their own.
Yeah,
not too far.
Skyfoxes are in a much better economy situation. They're probably going to be looking for Grapple early. Buds is looking for it, exposes himself to a degree, eats a lot of damage early, going to be forcing Lastro. The Transcend in to save him. NRG, Kara transcends out in time to save Stand. Oh, not going to save for that phase. Blows them all. The Kingdom Come off the grab of Buds.
And that's just ult economy for you. That really is. NRG had to get value, had to get a pick earlier to delay the fight, but because they make those tempo swaps from first, they're just behind continuously in the ult. And now
off the edge.
Bye-bye.
Let us go.
And Mac actually getting a decent amount of ult charge from that because of the boops as well. So it's still very good for Skyfoxes now on this stagger offense.
So NRG, perhaps refreshed from their Ocean Dip, going to be coming out here from spawn. Skyfoxes can't immediately all commit to spawn because at some level they still have to push the payload.
NRG, though, there is no trance on the field for Lastro, so Kevster's grab can look to get a lot of value here. They don't have the combo, but it should be fine. They have Rally as well to sustain here. It's all going to be based off Kevster's grab right now.
Skyfox is under pressure, using the beat in response. NRG on the other side, going to be dropping the Graviton. Beat starting to fade, Horthic out of the fight. Man advantage now to NRG. And now just easy cleanup. They use the Shatter to make it even a bit better. And I don't necessarily hate that Shatter towards the end, even though the fight was probably theirs.
Yeah, the fight was probably theirs. I don't think the Shatter was necessarily worth it. But they hold, and Kevster getting great value from the grab. As I was talking about, I mean, there was no support ults really readily available. There was no trance readily available to mitigate that damage. They used the Rally to get the max beat out pretty early. So, pretty good spot for NRG right now.
Meanwhile, on the other side, you have Buds here with the Graviton, but the issue is by the time he fires it, Transcendent's going to be up over for NRG. And NRG giving a little bit of room here to the Skyfoxes, backing on out. They're going to contest here right on corner. Stand one under very heavy pressure. NRG, they don't like where that's going. They immediately beat well before the grab. And now Byram going to have to transcend. Meanwhile, FaZe, the self-destruct right over to the back, catches Smex with his self-destructing on his own. Can't remech. And look at that, Shatter for Shatter.
Stand one, though.
Stand one ending up falling on the other side. And the Shatter trade working out a lot better for the Skyfoxes.
I think if NRG can get back up, they're still in an okay spot. They have the Rally, they have the grab. They need to touch point, though. Stand one up on that contest. Ham and, or no, Smex.
It's Smex, yeah. Smex here. He sacrifices the D.Va.
The grab through the lower. He actually grabs in spawn, catches him on point. Interesting grab choice for Kevster.
I mean, it's not a bad idea. The problem is you're not there to help fall through at that point. Your team is down numbers to begin with. I mean, you got to do what you got to do. Unfortunately, not enough firepower to make that grab work.
And that's really, once again, we see it. We see the grabs were, well, not the grabs, but the grab for Skyfox was available. Again, the combo play, and the beat comes out early. Skyfoxes force the beat out early from Pooks, and so they don't have beat up for the combo. They don't have beat up for the bomb. You need that beat to survive the combo for the grab, the bomb, and Pooks is getting forced too early there, which just set up the position for NRG to lose the fight.
So all in all, to take a look at this, Skyfox is able to set a pretty decent time here in Gibraltar. Of course, we have seen much quicker times. Again, this map, times are all over the place, but it is a tough road here for NRG where, remember, on Gibraltar, you are not necessarily guaranteed first, second, or third. Every point pretty defensible. So NRG, you have to come out reinvigorated if they want to force a map 5 and show that, you know what, they can win on control. They can bring the series back.
I mean, they're going to have to because, I mean, the loss here means the series is over.
Yep.
So obviously they do have to tie it up here just to keep themselves alive in the series. Skyfox is going to be rolling out on the defense. Coleman here on the Reinhardt, so pretty standard 3-3. And I think NRG will probably going to be running the stand one Winston here.
Now, bear in mind, for those who are wondering, well, gee, what's at stake between these two teams? Where do they actually stand right now? And where they are is that this is basically a battle for second place in the group at the moment, where whatever team loses this, like let's say it's NRG that ends up losing, they're still in a fine spot. They're still going to make playoffs. Their seeding, though, will not be quite as good, which could have impacts down the line. So this is very important for both teams, but on the same note, not the end of the world should you lose.
No, both teams still confident in their playoff runs. It's all about seeding. It's about proving who's going to be, pretty much the top dog behind Envy at this point.
Going to drop on in. The Skyfoxes, classic aggression for them with how they've been trying to play. They don't get anything from it, though. NRG able to disengage from it a bit. They don't give up the early pickoff, and now they're going to be able to go to the payload. Not bad for Skyfoxes for the attempt by any means, but NRG dealing pretty on. Okay, they're in again. Skyfoxes just dive on Izar just when you think they're done. Unorthodox here here in Gibraltar.
Stand 1 picks up Izar, though. Now, still, I like Skyfox's hold. I like that they're fighting in spawn, especially while playing the Reinhardt composition. You're just denying that point presence because they can't. NRG can't win the cart war with stand 1 on the Winston. And now they're going to have to back up, though. Lastro did get picked. They're going to be waiting. Actually, I wonder. I think they're just going to take high ground. I don't think he will swap. I think he's 73%. No, he will.
He will. Yeah, and as tempting as the Primal was, I think that they've had enough of Skyfoxes just diving into them saying, well, you're running Winston, good luck dealing with this one.
HK stronger than QT there. I think definitely the right call as well.
Well, and again, Skyfoxes, they go to the well once more. Lastro, though, eats so much damage early on. Going to get out of it, ends up getting healed. Byram down. Skyfoxes making the dive super decisive once more.
And really, it's just all aggression. I don't even think there is necessarily a lot of times there isn't necessarily a set focus here. It's just Skyfoxes know the more fights they take as aggressively as possible and get up in their face, especially when they had like a rally ad, which they did there since Horthic had that early rally advantage. It's just better for them. It's better for their time bank on the defense. Skyfox, it's one of the key tenets I've been talking about. Aggression is a good team fixer. It's a very strong thing if you just be aggressive all the time.
Very certainly so. Skyfoxes already burning 2 minutes off the clock. NRG at this point just feeling incredibly pressured. And here we go again. Graviton out, self-destruct down the middle of the street. And NRG desperately trying to get out of this. Stand 1 down. Counter grab in from NRG here as they try and turn the tables, but Skyfoxes right there transcend into their own. They get the better trades.
The Shatter from Cloman guaranteeing the fight for Skyfox. NRG possibly could have won that, but the Shatter from Cloman denying a lot of the cleanup, getting those picks. He's continued to impress on the Reinhardt. He's been outperforming Stand 1 in a lot of ways. Stand 1 I thought has been pretty strong main tank so far this season, and even the seasons past, but Cloman having a very, very good game.
I mean, Cloman can just write the email, CC at OWLGMs, this VOD. It's been good for him, and as I say that, Horthic gonna get isolated early. Skyfox's man disadvantage, beat used or no, and Lastro not quite close to the Transcendence. So NRG, the opportunity that chases down, and they do. Cloman down.
But look at the cart presence, CP. Look how far the way the cart is from being capped, and look at the time continually still being built up. Skyfoxes have another contest. They're going to have combo, but 90% to the grab. They're going to have a fight here.
This is still really good for the Skyfoxes, and if you need Smex to have the moment of just gobbling things up, now is the time. Gotta get directly into Bud's face.
And also, NRG need to look for their own combo potentially, which would be still really good for Skyfox. You see, backing away from the rally of Horthic, getting ready for the next setup. Kevster
looking for again, drop the grab. Not gonna be eaten. Here comes the combo. Smex laying the bomb right up and over. Takes down Lastro. 2 down for the Skyfoxes. NRG getting the better from this fight right now. Transcendence.
Have to invest a lot though. I think it's still overall, I mean, obviously great to still cap the point. But Skyfoxes, because of all this aggression they've had, they continue to build out. They had such great cart presence for such a long time. They forced NRG to commit so much.
I mean, I'd say there to a degree that that's a win for both teams in the sense that NRG, I don't fault them for throwing a ton of resources over and in there simply because, look, that is final fight territory. There comes a point where you have to be sure, but it does come at a cost.
NRG now need to get value out of this rally. Izar needs to get the rally and try to get a support out of Skyfox to try to get a fight win. Because NRG doesn't want to invest very much. They only have a little over 2 minutes for second, and second is a tough point to push.
You also don't want to lose this fight here in second. Once you lose a fight in second, it's so hard to actually get back into rhythm things here. All right, fight is under fire here. Cloman can open up with the Shatter. Looking for the follow through. Meanwhile, it's a much bigger Shatter from Stand 1, knocking down 4 Skyfoxes. While the Transcendence keeps him alive for a little while, it's not enough. It fades midway through. The damage from NRG coming on in, and Stand 1 seizing the opportunity.
That was a great counter Shatter from NRG, and honestly, I was shocked. I was waiting for Izar to press Q at any point. I was waiting for the rally to come out sustain, but they didn't have to pop any ults other than the Shatter to win that fight, even with the Trance being invested.
No, not in the least, and it sets them up quite nicely here for the next fight. Skyfoxes recontesting on point B here. Offense or defense, man, is it tough. The doorways you have to go through, tiny. The Graviton can be coming in here early from Smex. And there's the pin, the follow through. Cloman smushed against the side. NRG should be able to get point B here, and they're making up for lost time.
Only having used one ult there as well. Their ult economy is perfect. It's exactly what they need right now if they want to get, not only just complete the map, but potentially get a faster time. They'll be really close.
So they've evened things up here a bit. Skyfoxes staggered the last few fights. We'll see if they can regain their footing. 2 minutes, 30 seconds left for NRG.
It's still a good position for Skyfoxes, considering that not only do they cap the point, but they can really just tank another fight, force NRG to use ults, and come back for the recontest. But they need to take it soon.
Skyfoxes ganks it up here once more. Clone Man gets the bubble, moves forward, looking for Sam1, who went for a super early shatter to the back line. Doesn't quite work out the way he was expecting. Graviton gonna be thrown in here. And there's the bomb. The fall through from FaZe gets 2.
So good. The boop moving the barrier, moving everyone up, setting up the bomb. So great boop from Skyfoxes there. I think it was Mac. Might have been Horthpick. It was tough to tell in the melee there. But a very, very good engage for Skyfoxes. They took the fight early. They got a lot of ults out of NRG as well. So now the pressure is on for NRG, considering they're not overall ahead in the ult economy.
Not ahead in the time bank here either. Skyfoxes is going to be surpassing them in the next 2 seconds. NRG, time bank isn't even their concern right now. Their main concern, just finishing the map. Here comes Clone Man like a wrestler off the top rope. Jumps on down.
Isolated.
Oh, this is not where you want to be. That's a room of pain and suffering. And Byram booked a full session. Clone Man just moves on in.
I like that. That was your the room of pain and suffering there for Byram. It was a classic travel guide there for Watchpoint. But realistically, that was a room of pain made of Byram's own making. NRG so split. I don't know if that was their plan, was to have Byram be that far back and maybe shoot Skyfox and they drop for the engage. But because of that, Skyfox is recognizing he's still isolated, catching them. However, still pretty good for NRG, considering they got the trans at a last round.
NRG down to their final minute. Skyfox is holding back. Clone Man, you know where he's going. Shatter ready. He's in the grab. He's waiting for the opportunity to counter. Shatter in the middle. It's self-destruct though. Over to the sky. Coming on in from Specs. Does not connect. Skyfox under pressure. Clone Man drops a shatter. Doesn't really get what he's looking for. NRG still in a good shape. They're down Pooks. It's 4-on-4. Specs looking to be the hero once more. Needs to get healed on up, getting low, but still very much in the fight. Payload getting pushed all the while. NRG transcendence out here from Byram. They're starting to clean up, get more momentum here on the fight. Skyfox need to come back in. They drop a barrier, hits 3. Rally coming on out. Reinforcements are in. Kevster getting isolated just a bit here. NRG, they have not wrapped this up here just yet, especially as Byram goes out. Final 5 seconds. They need to get back in. They've backed on up. They're trying to regain momentum. Specs back over, but Specs is really low.
And they have to come back into the fight. Once again, it's on OT. Going to be a touch there from Ezire, I should say. But I don't think NRG wins this fight. The ult's not their favorite. Lastro has trance. It's cleanup for Skyfoxes.
NRG just got too low. They couldn't heal up the damage by the very end. They had to back on up for respawns, and that lets Skyfoxes come back on in. The series, it's over. There's no map 5. We don't go full Fusion University here.
And they were chasing there. They knew that Lastro didn't have trance. It was the combo. Once again, they solo grab, solo bomb. Clone Man don't get a kill on either. They commit their life to try to clean up the status for Shan1, and they aren't able to do it much either. They just didn't get value out of ults there in that last fight, and they should have gotten tons of value because there was no trance available for Skyfoxes.
Unfortunate there for NRG where, I mean, again, I would argue that NRG did look better over the course of the series, but the first half, very, very tough for them. And then even when they're doing better, you look at things like Volskaya. Volskaya was way too difficult for them, or yeah, they end up taking Volskaya, but you think about it, that should have been an easier take. That shouldn't have needed crazy heroics at the very end to be a thing. Skyfox in the end, aggression paying off. Not necessarily perfect gameplay, but it was enough, and it was a style that overall, NRG just not super great at dealing with.
They didn't know how to deal with the aggression. That's really what it came down to. I don't think Skyfoxes necessarily had perfect play, but because they just force so many fights, continually build better in the ult economy, and don't give the space to NRG, they just weren't getting the value they needed out of their own ults. So it's really just Skyfoxes using aggression as a band-aid for maybe imperfect play, and NRG just not able to deal with it. So, I mean, I think still that's great for Skyfoxes, recognizing just to use aggression as a way to shore up whatever weaknesses you may have.
Well, guys, that was our third set of the night, but don't you fret. We got one more set left to go. When we come back, it's going to be Atlanta Academy taking on Phase 2.